Hello and welcome to episode 121 of Perpetual Traffic. Today, we've got a fun episode for you. We've got another great guest today, Jason Smith. And if you are a consultant, if you are looking to build a consulting business, looking to build an agency, or grow your digital marketing agency, or whatever niche that you're in specifically, today we're going to be talking about two keys. I think the two biggest keys that will get you higher fees, more demand, better clients, and enjoy a better lifestyle. All right. It's literally like the two keys that unlock the gates to a world where sometimes the clients are pitching you instead of you pitching them or you trying to sell your services. And we're going to talk about the two keys. And one of them specifically is, I think, dismissed a lot. But when you have both of these together, it can be really can be game changing. You can see exponential growth. So we've got Jason on board to kind of tell his story a little bit. Jason Smith is a graduate of our certification program that we held last February 2017 in Austin, Texas. Molly was one of the speakers, and so was Ryan Dice, one of the teachers. And this was a DominateWebMedia.com event, and we've got another certification event, another live in-person certification event coming up November 30th through December 3rd. There's a lot of reasons why we do this live. I'm not going to go down that right now, but mostly so we can go deep. We can look people in the eye, because we're looking for consultants that we can refer out to people that trust us, to my friends, to our subscribers, our customers. All right, looking for talent to potentially come and sharpen their axe and refine their skills and master their craft working with the agency, either part-time or full-time. And we're also looking for high-quality advisors. We call them advisors. They're like the coaches inside of our navigator coaching community at Dominate Web Media, where we help. It's kind of a done with you program. We help businesses scale out their ads if they're running their own ads, or help them train their team. And so it was very important for us to have this event in person, and so we could really go deep, and we could also get to know some of these guys. And Jason, I asked him to come on because this is a two-part episode. Next week, we've actually got an episode talking about the 5 questions that you should be asking if you are looking to hire somebody to manage your campaigns, your digital marketing, your Facebook ads, your paid traffic, or if you're looking to bring somebody on your team and turn them into an expert. So we're going to be getting into that, and Jason's going to be talking about his experience from that angle as well. But today, specifically, it's all about how to grow a consulting business. And if you're a business owner, if you're a marketing professional, a marketing manager, executive, I highly recommend you sticking around for this, because I think it'll resonate with you as well. And you'll be like, that makes sense. How you grow a consulting business can actually, that's why I want somebody that actually is good and is growing their business, because there might be a reason for that. So, Jason, dude, thanks for coming on, man. Got Jason and Ralph and Molly, all of us today. How we doing?
Great, guys. Glad to be here.
Cool.
Thanks a lot for having me on.
Cool. So Jason Smith is a recent graduate of the certification. And if you're interested in learning more about the certification event, go to dominatewebmedia.com/consulting. And that's going to take you either to a webinar. If we've got webinars, free trainings going, it might take you to a Facebook Live, more information about it. It might take you directly to the sales page. Just go to dominatewebmedia.com/consulting, and you can learn more about that event. So Jason is one of the fellow, bearded brothers out there. He's got the big long beard, and Jason is a former LA police officer. But we're not talking about in Beverly Hills. We're talking about East LA, like the areas, and he'll get into this a little bit. The sections of LA where there's murders every single day. All right. Jason came to our event in a transition period in his life, and he'll talk about that, and where he was dabbling in MLMs, network marketing companies, and and he wanted to be out of that life. He's got two young kids, and he came to our event with virtually no experience running Facebook ads. And literally a few weeks, month or two after the event, he was already acquiring high-level clients. And now Jason has a book of clients. He's growing his business. He's also working part-time for the DWM agency, and I think his income is actually passed up his income as a police officer in the LA area. That's one of the higher end incomes for policemen. So get a little frame there, Jason, but Jason's just one of those good dudes. He's got a great heart. He's in this for the right reasons. And Jason, I just love what's happening right now, and I can't wait to see, what happens next. But thanks for coming on, dude. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
So I mentioned 2 keys that can change the game and literally unlock the gates where, clients will be pitching you instead of you pitching clients. And those 2 keys are, number 1 is building your authority, right? How can you build your authority? And there's a lot of ways to do this much faster than the traditional way. You can run ads, you can build a sales funnel, you can piggyback off of another expert who has a bigger brand and help them and have them refer you business. There's a lot of different ways to do this. I feel there's a lot of people out there that are overdoing this, and they're almost positioning themselves as the expert, and they're falsely kind of claiming and showing screenshots of ROIs and 500% ROI and all this crap. And I think there's a fine line to that, and you have to be careful. So number 1 is you do that. When you start to build an authority, you're going to get more demand, and you're going to be able to charge higher fees. It's just 1 + 1 = 2. It's just what happens. Now, the second key to truly exponentially growing a consulting business is becoming a master at your craft, becoming so good that they can't ignore you. Okay, a really good book by, what's his name again? I just had it. So good they can, Cal Newport. Yeah, there's a great book. There's a great book by Cal Newport called "So Good They Can't Ignore You." I highly recommend anybody reading that. And if you're a business owner, have people on your team read this book or listen to the Audible. It'll change the game for you. And it's about some of the false, what he does is he calls out a little bit of the gurus out there that are telling people to go follow their passion and just completely build a business based around their passion. And, he kind of brings up some amazing points in how when you actually start to master your craft and become a master craftsman and become really good at something, you become passionate about that. And that also shows, okay? When you get so good at something, when you get so good at running Facebook ads where you can take a losing campaign and turn it into a winning campaign, and you can help a client that wasn't doing very well before double or triple or quadruple their ROI or their conversion rates. Word spreads quickly. And what that does is it builds the confidence. Okay, so when you get the right training and right experience, and then you start to master your craft, what happens is you build a level of confidence that gives you, that takes away all the fear when it comes to calling up a potential client, right? Or walking into a building, or if somebody wants to hire you because of a referral, you come at it from an angle so much different than you would have before you had that confidence, where you feel confident saying, hey, it's going to cost you $5,000 a month or $8,000 a month or $3,000 a month or whatever that price is. When you didn't have that confidence, you just couldn't do it. I first started charging $750 a month running Facebook ads for people back in 2011 or whatever it was. And every year, those fees jumped up. But whenever I did something where my level of expertise, my level of skills exponentially grew in a short period of time, guess what else did? My fees. And I was also building my authority that whole entire time as well. So we're going to talk about those two things and really how to do that. So if you have a consulting business or want to grow a consulting business, even if that business is on the side, maybe your goal is to build an e-commerce store, but you've got to have the cash flow to do that. And you also want to sharpen your skills and get really good at this digital marketing stuff. I think the best way to do that is to become a consultant and, work in different niches and different industries. So back to Jason. Jason showed up at our event with literally no experience. And Jason, I want you to just kind of tell me your story a little bit about your level and what it felt like at the certification event, like the stuff that we were talking about the first couple of days, and like, how did you feel when you were there?
Man, well, went to certification and sat down and saw everybody in there. And then once the class started, I thought I was in the wrong place. I was like, man, am I in the right class right now? I felt a little dumb. I was like, this is way too high level for me. Throwing out all these CPAs and KPIs, and I'm like, what the hell is all this stuff? It was really intimidating, and I'm not one to be easily intimidated, and because of my background and stuff, and I felt it was a weird feeling for me because I felt out of my element completely, obviously, and I was pretty freaked out. I almost turned around and walked out, and not only that, but no name tag for me, so I'm like, oh, definitely in the wrong place.
You didn't have a name tag.
Oops. There's like, who's this Jason Smith guy walks in with beard and tattoos and all that stuff, and everybody else looks a lot different from me. So I was like, yeah, I'm in the wrong place, So, but no, it was definitely an eye opener for me, and that's how it all started. Right there when I walked through those doors.
Okay. So I'm gonna give a little frame so people understand where you came from.
Yeah. So I was a LA policeman for over 13 years, and kind of like what you mentioned earlier. Not really the type to work in the boring places. So I worked in all the worst neighborhoods in Los Angeles for 13 years. And, when you work in these neighborhoods, you're confronted with stuff every night. And I was, I did a little more than the average cop would do every night. So I was chasing guys every night. And like you said earlier, guys are killing each other every single night, in a 6 mile radius when you have, 140, 150 homicides a year in the 6 mile radius. Okay. That'll tell you how violent it is there. And no one really knows about it. And that's the funny thing. You live 15, 20 minutes outside of these neighborhoods in Los Angeles, and no one really knows what goes on in these places. It's pretty crazy. But what that does to you as a person is that, you become very calloused. You look at the world in a different, light than you would a normal person. I was really negative. No personal development going on. Was reading 0 books. Was around negative people all day. And, in stressful situations every single night for 13 years, it kind of wears on you, and I was at a place in my life where I was just, I was done with that stuff. I still to this day have, dreams and that I'm getting shot or I'm chasing after somebody and my gun doesn't work or something like that. So it definitely wears on you mentally, especially working in those type of neighborhoods where, people want to hurt you. Like they don't care if you wear a uniform. They don't care if you're a dad. They don't care if you have kids. They don't care if you make it home to your family that night. They really want to hurt you. So and working in that for so long, I was just done. So literally one day just made the decision, went in and turned in my resignation. I said, I'm out of here. And my boss at the time was like, this is a joke, right? Like, please tell me you're joking, because, I was a very good policeman and I was good at what I did. And man, it was just a huge decision for me. And it, when I walked in to turn in my resignation, it was just like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I won't go into a ton of detail about stuff, but if you ever want to ask me on the side, anybody can ask me questions or whatever, but it's very stressful, and being sued in federal court 3 times and for doing your job, and that's the amazing thing is it's so diluted, and it's just the politics are out of control. And, when a police department says, oh, well, you may be on the hook for $850,000 worth of punitive damages in federal court, you're like, wait a second, I'm a policeman. Like I wear this uniform for you guys, try to clean up the city. And so that stuff just wears on you after so many years and just seeing all the violence and stuff. But yeah, so I was in a huge transition in my life. When I came to the certification, I was actually a part of a pretty big MLM company and actually doing really well. I was actually the only one that put together like the type of marketing that I was doing. And I was running Facebook ads on a really low level for my own MLM business. And that's why I came to the certification, is because I, at the time, wanted to just better my Facebook ads and get a little more knowledge on how to scale that out for myself. I was making, a decent income, not too good, but knew the growth was there. And I knew Facebook for me was a way to do that, because I saw everything going on around me in Facebook. So stumbled across the certification actually. And then filled out the application and was accepted. And yeah, showed up not knowing what the heck I was getting myself into. But honestly, it was the best thing I ever did. So it changed my life. And we can go into that in a little bit, but yeah, so that's pretty much my background.
I think the big thing with Jason is when he came to that program, I remember he was the first person to walk up to me and say, "Hey, I just want to let you know that I'm going to put in all the work that's necessary to work with you at some point. I don't know when that time is going to be, but I'm going to put in the effort." And I was like, great. And you could tell, he was the stuff that we were talking about was a little bit over his head. Yep. But the thing with you is that you're a total action taker. So you can go to all the trainings. And I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to this podcast have heard like pitches for trainings before and how you can change your life. Well, that's great, but you actually have to go and then apply it. Yep. And then just be so just diligent and dogged in your pursuit of it. And that's exactly what you've done. You are a huge, huge action taker. And right after that event, you started to really transform, not only your finances, but also, the ability to be able to bring in customers for your clients. And if you can actually do that, if you can figure out a way, like if the whole agency blew up tomorrow, I always would know that there's always going to be a demand out there for people to grow businesses faster than they could do it on their own. Yep. And that's basically what we do in the agency. We just happen to do it with Facebook ads. But you learned this skill as a craftsman, great, but then applied it. And then, certainly proved yourself through the months after that, so much so that I remember talking to you back in May. I was like, damn, I got to figure out a way to get this guy working with us. He's so freaking awesome in so many different ways. And you created sort of this specialty role. We brought you in as what we call the hirsute handyman, which is, you had to look up hirsute.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor is a rocket scientist, so he calls me hirsute whenever I grow up here. But anyway, so neither here nor there. But so we figured out a way to use you in that, and now you're full running account management ads. You're a huge part of the agency now. It's because you figured it out, you did the training, and you applied it, and you're a huge action taker. And obviously, it's icing on the cake that we all, think you're pretty cool and maybe a little bit somewhat intimidated by you.
Well, I'm going to jump in real quick because what Ralph said I'm glad you brought that up because he went and did the work. A lot of people, when we did our last certification, I talked a lot about your authority score and what can happen because it changed my life when I started running ads for free for Perry Marshall, and then I started teaching this stuff and people just want to hire you. It's just what happens. And so when you build your authority, it makes a huge difference. But the reason why I was able to do that was because I started running ads because a friend of Perry's recommended me, was talking about me at a mastermind. One of my clients, Bill, who was in a mastermind with Perry, was like, yeah, this guy Keith's running my ads. And he cut our cost per lead by 64%. So Perry's marketing director at the time, which was Jack Bourne, this is way back in 2000, I don't know, I think 12 maybe, 11, and emails me. And so I started running ads for them. And then they started acquiring customers for their 80-20 book funnel lower than they ever had before, even during the AdWords heydays. And so it's with Jason went out and did the work. A lot of people, we talked about the authority stuff a lot. So a lot of people, sometimes they come and they're like, okay, I want to get certified. And then I'm expecting to get all these leads from you. And it's like, the guys that take action, okay, if you go to dominatewebmedia.com/consulting, you can watch a webinar. It's probably going to be a recorded webinar or a Facebook Live of like 4 or 5 or 6 of our recent graduates, and Jason's on there, and how their businesses changed, how their clients' businesses have changed, how their lives have changed, how their demand, how Chris went from 2 people on his team 9 months ago before the cert to 12 people on his team now, okay? Now he's starting to do live workshops and all that. And he came from the MLM industry too, so it was a total shift for him in his industry. Completely went into a new thing. He's a smart dude, but did the work. When I started, so if you're thinking like I already have a consulting business, or if you're looking at should I do this, like a couple clients paying me $2 to $5 grand a month or more, that's pretty good income. $5 grand a month, 10 grand a month off a couple clients, maybe 3 or 4, or depend on your situation. But, should you do this? Yes. Okay. Can you do this part-time? Yes. Is it a lot of work? Absolutely. When I was doing it, it was a transitionary period. I was working full-time as the e-commerce account manager. And like Jason, I had a son at the time, a young son. I didn't want him to be kind of see the chaos that was happening. It was a big transition period. And so I would work at night, and then I would get up at 4:30 in the morning and work before he woke up. So it's after he went to bed, before he got up, and then I would go to work, and then I would, thanks to Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Body, I'd do it usually a 10 to 15 minute power nap. Usually it was about 12 after lunch, during the day job, and in the car, and kind of so I wouldn't be tired in the afternoon, and then do it all over again. But I only had to do that for 6 months, because once I got the confidence, once I got those key couple clients that gave me the confidence to tell my boss, you know what, I can't afford to work here full time anymore. And so then, she actually was like, well, how about if we just pay you as a consultant and you don't work here anymore? And I'm like, okay, yeah. But the point is, it was because I did the work. And the reason why Jason's life is changing, Chris and all these different people, Sterling and all these guys, is because they are, doing what it takes. And so when you have a combination of the right training, the right mentors, and you do the work, your life will change. I promise you. But it's not just going to get handed to you. So Jason, kudos to you for getting out there and crushing it, dude. It's like it's only just begun. I promise you.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. And and just kind of piggybacking on that. I mean, I was, I have 2 kids, single dad, and one of my biggest things was spending more time with them, because as a policeman, I was, 12-hour shifts, and, I was doing stuff every night. Sometimes I'd have, on top of my 12-hour shifts, 12 to 24 hours of overtime, sleep at the station, get 2 hours sleep, get up, go back to work in a really violent place where you should have 9 or 10 hours sleep, but you get a couple hours,
Wow.
And so I was used to working a lot of hours. And then when I transitioned to this, my main thing was I want to be home with my kids, and nothing's going to stop me from being able to achieve that. And so, I'd get home, help my kids with homework, do whatever I had to do, put them to bed, and then I'd be up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning sometimes, working my butt off. And, I'm happy to say, and Molly appreciate this, but I think I'm the record holder for the most certifications from DM in one day. I think I did 4 in a Saturday.
Wow. Way to go.
He is the world's record holder, actually.
I love it.
According, yeah.
We need to get you a trophy.
Yeah, right. But those certifications, I mean, you sit and listen to this stuff, and it's a lot of work. But I mean, in that Saturday, I probably learned a ton just sitting there doing that stuff, and putting my kids in front of Netflix, and unfortunately, but hey, it's work, and I had to do it, and it was only a few times, but you work your butt off, and yeah, my life has changed completely. So it's pretty awesome.
Such a great story. Thank you for sharing. And I spoke at Lead Pages event Converted last week, and the first thing I said was, you guys are going to learn a lot over the next 2 days, but it's what you actually do. And I think, even in my career, most of what I've learned, is from execution. So, yeah, I know we sort of repeated that, but I just can't say how important it is for your career, your business, and really whatever you're doing. Learn from smart people and then then do stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's really where most of of your skills are going to come from.
Absolutely. It's interesting because when you acquire these skills, these are not things that just can only be used in this one circumstance. Okay. Number one is social media is where people are at. Okay. It's where everybody is, and that's never going away. And if you can get good at building a system, a machine that can acquire customers, that can go out and put somebody's brand out in front of people on the biggest social network there is, which is Facebook, and literally attract them to want to learn more about your brand, which is how we teach people to do it. And it's all automated. And guess what happens? You can siphon those new subscribers, those fans, those customers over to YouTube or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever channel, your email list, of course, it's part of the process, but whatever channel you want to build, you can filter that. So the fastest way to build all your social is to dial in something like Facebook. And especially when you do it the way we teach it, which is story-based ads and longer copy and video ads that can be used. Your same video pretty much can be used in YouTube, and a clip of it can be used in Instagram and some of these other platforms. And so you become a valuable commodity because you can look at and then, like I said, and then like Jason said, when you get that additional digital marketing, just core foundational knowledge, that you can look at a client campaign and I call it revamp. How many questions? Like one of my questions for the next week's episode is, whenever you're getting ready to hire a potential consultant or put somebody on your team into that position of, acquiring customers, is like, how many revamp campaigns have you accomplished? Like, how many successful revamp campaigns have you been involved in? How many losing campaigns have you turned into winning campaigns? And most people just learning Facebook ads the normal way don't have a lot of that in their repertoire. And this is what we teach people to do, is to be able to look at a situation and help a client with change their offer if they need to, or have a different hook, or run a video ad, or maybe not a video ad, depending on each situation. And so this is going to definitely help you with your entire skill. So you become a much more valuable commodity. And so it's back to that mastering your craft, right? So Jason, his value is is getting greater and greater. And so it's funny because, Ralph, literally last night while I was working on some slides, I was thinking about the next certification that we do. And I'm like, gosh, these colleges like University of Washington or Harvard, or whether it's a good public school or just an average public school or a private college, university, you're spending somewhere between $9,000 or $10,000 and $50,000 a year, right? And they have student loans you can get. And I'm like, maybe we should just, for the next certification, lower the amount of people even more. We're only accepting 40 people into this one, but maybe we should lower it to even more, to 20 or 15, and really have the application process similar to getting into an Ivy League school, and charge more money, and then maybe give them a bigger payment plan, because I'm seeing what happens when people apply this stuff, and it's something that will pay you back by 100,000 fold, if you do the work, and then you can utilize that if you want to just go get a regular job, because you can now help any business build a customer generating machine.
I think my favorite thing about the certification event you guys had last year was how small it was. I mean, I got to personally know at least 80% of the people in that room, and they've become friends. So if you are wanting to take your skills to the next level, go in and commit to, a few days to really learn everything that you need to know. This is for you. And like Jason said, you'll also, meet people that will become your buddies and your little tribe.
Well,
so
partners. And
I highly recommend it.
Thank you, Molly.
I think becoming Molly's friend is reason enough to go. So.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, for real though, the relationships. I mean, that's a big deal. That probably alone will pay more dividends than anything else, I think. And for me, it has at other events that I've gone to. So that's why it's small. Sure. That's why we did it so small, and because We want to refer people. And so, Jason, thanks, Molly, again. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. Once again, it's dominatewebmedia.com/consulting or dominatewebmedia.com/get certified to go directly and sign up and apply and talk with Robert. You don't have to make any decisions. You can chat with Robert, and we're going to see if it's a fit before we make any decisions as well. Next week, we've got another episode with Jason talking about the 5 questions you should ask anybody that is responsible or might be responsible for running your traffic campaigns. That's it. Bye-bye.
Bam.
See ya.